The Middle East is going through big changes, from the devastating war in Gaza to shifts in leadership in Syria and Lebanon. At the same time, the re-election of Donald Trump in the United States is reshaping the global politics. I'm Sohaib Sharayer, and I'm pleased to receive Mr. David Lamy, the UK's Foreign Secretary, to discuss the UK's vision and role in all these changes in the region and in the world. Sir David Lamy, thank you for joining us on العربية TV and welcome to Riyadh.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be with you.
Let's start with your current visit to Saudi Arabia. What's the main purpose of your visit to the kingdom?
Well, the United Kingdom and Saudi Arabia have a growing relationship. You know, our trade is up 70%, so it's good to be back in Saudi Arabia. It builds on a visit of our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, to Saudi Arabia just over a month ago, and it consolidates a growing partnership on trade, on defence and security, and a range of people-to-people issues.
Okay, let's move to the Middle East. The situation in Gaza is still intense, Sir David Lamy, and the ceasefire agreement has been delayed. What's the UK's vision to achieve peace in Gaza?
Well, we have been calling for a ceasefire since December of last year. We want to see that ceasefire. We want to see a hostage deal. We want to see the intolerable suffering of the people of Gaza come to an end and a surge in aid. And we are pressing, and I will be going on to Israel to speak to the leadership in Israel to see if we can bridge the gap. We must bring this devastating war to an end.
Is it a big gap now?
Well, I think there has been progress. I think we are close to a deal. And it will be interesting to be in Israel and to speak to the foreign minister and others to see if we can bridge that gap and make that deal happen over the coming days.
Yeah. Foreign Secretary, let's move to Lebanon. With the election of Joseph Aoun as president to Lebanon, how the UK view this development in Lebanon, and what can you do to help the stability in this country?
Well, I've been to Lebanon twice in this last period. It's very important that the ceasefire holds. It's fragile, but I welcome the election of a new president and the stability it will bring to the region. We in the UK have done all we can to support the Lebanese armed forces. We support, of course, this ceasefire. We were the first Western government to call for a ceasefire. Lebanon is a beacon of multiculturalism in the region. Very important in Levant. I will continue to do all I can to support their progress, particularly their economic progress over this next period.
Mr. David Lamy, with the changes in the leadership in Syria after the fall of Bashar al-Assad regime, how do you see the new administration in Damascus?
Well, look, let me begin by thanking Saudi Arabia for convening foreign ministers from across the Arab world, but of course also myself, the High Representative of the EU, my German counterpart and others coming here to Saudi Arabia because it's hugely important that we work together to secure the peace and to secure the opportunity that we now have in Syria. What we want to see is an inclusive government, all minorities respected. Again, this is very fragile indeed. The economy is struggling. There are security issues in Syria at this time. So I'm looking forward to meeting for the first time with the new foreign minister of Syria and looking into his eyes and discussing these really important issues about an inclusive government that really bridges the divides and can move Syria forward. It's in the Middle East interest that Syria is a success, and the people of Syria who've put up with so much deserve nothing less than that.
Mr. Foreign Secretary, will we see you soon in Damascus then?
Well, look, we will judge the new leadership and ATS by their actions, not their words. And therefore, let us see where we get to over the coming months. It's very important that I'm meeting with the Foreign Minister here today in Riyadh.
Excellent. Let's move to the relation between United States and the United Kingdom. With the re-election of Donald Trump, what is the future of the relation between the two countries?
Well, look, I met with Donald Trump back in September. He was a very gracious host, and I want to emphasize that the United Kingdom and the US have a special relationship. It's a relationship built on our close defense cooperation. You know, we have 11,000 troops based in the United Kingdom. It's a relationship built on tremendous intelligence capability. And it doesn't just keep our countries safe, it keeps the global community safe. This is a very tough time with war in Europe and huge challenges here in the Middle East. So for all of those reasons, I'm looking forward to working with the new administration, my counterpart, Senator Rubio particularly, and to bring peace to the world, but it will be peace through strength.
But Mr. David Lamy, what about his comments, criticism of the UK and his statements about Greenland and the Panama Canal and Canada?
If you look behind, I think, the recent statements that he's made about Greenland, the Panama Canal, what he's really getting to is his concerns in the Arctic about Chinese and Russian influence, and actually concerns, I think, about the Chinese in the Panama Canal as well. That's what he's really talking about, and we support and have those similar concerns. Now, with Donald Trump, the rhetoric is always intense, but I think that we understand his modus operandi, we understand that from his first term. And the bottom line is that he came to office wanting to see the economic security of the US people, and we in the UK have come into office, new government, growth is our priority, and also the economic security of the British people, particularly the challenge of migration at this time. So there's a lot of common ground.
Talking about the NATO and the bottom line also, what about the Ukrainian war? What's your vision for this conflict? Donald Trump also said he will end this war when he comes back to the White House.
Well, look, at the moment, we don't see Mr. Putin showing any willingness to negotiate. He's attacking the Ukrainian people with missiles, with drones, their infrastructure, this terrible, aggressive imperialism that we're seeing on the European continent. We are pledged to support Ukraine for as long as it takes. We're giving them £3 billion worth of military aid this year and next and the year after for as long as it takes. Of course, we want to see peace, but peace will be brought about by Mr. Putin ending this war, leaving Ukraine, and being serious about a negotiated peace going forward.
Does the UK plan to send more support to Ukrainian?
We will continue to support Ukraine with the military, the economic and the humanitarian support they need.
Mr. David Lamy, we talked about all these wars in Gaza, Lebanon, the change now in Syria. I want to end this interview by asking you, some think that there is a next war is coming. People think that the next war will be in Yemen or in Iran directly. Are we expecting another war in the region?
Well, look, I don't think war is inevitable in the Middle East. We must do all we can to de-escalate and avoid war. But I would say this, the Houthi particularly and their relentless attacks in the Red Sea is totally unacceptable and must stop. It's destabilizing the region. And Iran's malign behavior and their nuclear ambitions must also stop. These are very, very worrying concerns indeed, but war is not inevitable, and the UK will do all it can to de-escalate at this time.
Foreign Secretary, thank you very much for sharing your insights. We hope the peace will be established here in the region and in the world. Thank you very much for joining us on Al Arabiya TV.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.